Seorang kanak-kanak perempuan berusia 4 tahun dipercayai didera guru taskanya.
Seorang kanak-kanak lelaki berusia 2 tahun meninggal dunia dipercayai didera.
Seorang kanak-kanak perempuan dipukul oleh seorang wanita.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nuratika and I will explain the definition of child abuse and the evolution of the policy. Child abuse happen all over the world and it is a global concern that have long remained unaddressed. Abuse of children under the age of 18 is known as a child abuse. All forms of physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, negligence, and all other forms of exploitation that can cause potential harm to a child is called child abuse. However, child abuse can happen in any type of household. Child abuse crosses all boundaries of income, race, ethnic, and religious faith. Child abuse can be divided into 4 types. The first one is physical abuse. Physical abuse happens when someone hit, kick, bite, or anything with direct touch, which cause injured or bruises, is called physical abuse. Emotional abuse is a pattern of behavior that impairs a child's emotional development or sense of self-worth, which include constant criticism, threats, rejection, yelling, or repeatedly make them feel worthless, unloved, alone, or scared. Sexual abuse, or also called child molestation, is a form of child abuse which an adult or older adolescent uses a child for sexual stimulation, kissing, hugging, or touching private areas of children. And the last type of child abuse is neglect. Neglect is when their parents or caregivers fail to protect them and to provide basic necessities to children in terms of health, education, clean waters, food, shelter, and etc. However, there are many factors that contribute to child abuse. Financial burdens, family crisis, household surrounding, lack of social support, parents' mental condition, alcohol and drugs addicted are among the factors that lead to child abuse. Many laws and policies have been implemented and passed to protect the welfare of the children. The evolution of child abuse policy in Malaysia has made huge progress in terms of children's rights since the government signing the Convention of the Right of the Child in 1959 and enacting the Child Act in 2001. The Child Act 2001 was first commenced in 2001 and first effective in 2002. The Juvenile Court Act 1947, the Women and Girls Protection Act 1973, and the Child Protection Act 1991 were all merged into the Child Act 2001. Both the government and civic society have pushed several measures to achieve and protect children's rights. The first objective of this policy is to raise various parties' awareness and commitment to child protection as their responsibility. Based on the Child Act 2001, Section 27 stated that the failure to report is an offence and shall on conviction be liable for a fine not exceeding 5,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both, which means that a person who are constantly in contact with a kid, for example, neighbor, or teacher, and notice indicators of abuse are responsible to report the incident. Another objective of the policy is to specify that only the right authorities should have direct contact with the children who has been abused. Section 18 of the Child Act 2001, any social welfare officer responsible under the Child Act 2001 are considered protectors, or police officers responsible to take a child into temporary custody and place the child in a safe house. The objective was also to protect children from sexual abuse and exploitation. Child trafficking is a main problem in the whole world, where the children may be sold, unlawfully adopted, forced into prostitution, or trafficked to labor. Based on the Child Act 2001, Section 43, any person who procures a child for purposes of having sexual intercourse or prostitution, either within or outside Malaysia, will be liable to a fine not exceeding RM50,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 15 years or both. And lastly, all children have the right to live in a safe and secure environment, which this policy create a safe and child-friendly environment, which was written in the Child Act 2001. Places of safety, Section 54. The Minister may by notification in the Gazette establish or appoint any place, institution or centre to be a place of safety for the care and protection of children. This is a sort of residential care, or also known as institution, where all children receive basic necessities and receive the same care regardless of their age, gender and race.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Nuramiza binti Ahmad. I will continue the presentation with the strategies established by the government to achieve the objective and curb these abuse issues. Firstly, to achieve the objective of protecting children from being abused, in 2007, government through the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development has launched Talian Nur 15999. Talian Nur is a call center to handle calls from public regarding community matters such as abuse and domestic violence. It is not set up only for the victims but also for public who have information regarding abuse case. Next, to achieve the objective of creating safe and child-friendly environment, government has enforced the registration for care center and babysitters under Child Care Centres Act 1984. As we know that nowadays there's lots of unregistered care centers and this can put risk on children's safety. This is because unregistered care centers are not bound to the SOP and rules set up by JKM. Therefore, care centers and nannies must be registered under Companies Commission of Malaysia SSM or Register of Societies rules and meet the conditions set by JKM. This is to ease the JKM to monitor the operation of nursery and the safety of children. And the third one is child protection services. Government not only committed in saving children from abusive individual but also to help them from post-traumatic situation. Therefore, government under Child Act 2001 has provides out-of-home care for children in need of protection or rehabilitation. It is the duty of a protector or police officer to take a child into temporary custody and put him in a safe house. If the protector is satisfied on reasonable grounds that a child is in need of care and protection, they may take the child into temporary custody.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Ahmad Badrisha binti Abdul Rahman and I'm going to explain about the challenges and resolution from government during COVID phase. The first challenge is all daycares and nurseries are closed. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected many people including children. So in an effort to break the cycle of coronavirus spread, Malaysian educational institutions at all levels were shuttered. Because of the increasing cases, the government has ordered all nurseries, daycare centers and similar facilities to close. The government determined that child transmission could be reduced and prevented because the children are the ones who are at the most risk. Finding a child care center during a pandemic is challenging for parents, but the largest issues resulting from this closure is the children's well-being. All parents fuss all over where to send their child, especially when not all parents work from home. So a few still need to go to the office and outdoor. So there are two effects of closed nursery. First effect on the parents and also the children themselves. The parents who work from home, they got stressed because they have to take care of their children while managing to their own work. So those who must work to the office or outdoor, they have trouble in finding a place to send their child. Some children are harmed as a result of their parents' inability to regulate their emotions and fury. So many families have been affected by the nursery's closure. Next, increased cases of child abuse. The country's implementation of MCO during COVID-19 pandemic, which began in March, has contributed a rise in the incidence of child abuse in Malaysia. According to Dr. Fauzia Muhammad Saad, a counselling psychologist at UPSI, the introduction of MCO has given room to activate psychiatrist problems that are already existing in the abuser. A total of 5,578, 6,061 and 3,865 cases were reported from October 2018 to September 2020. This abuse is caused by both the children's problems and the abuser troubles. Because of their nature of being in the early stages of exploring the meaning of life, children are considered to be a source of abuse. This is because the change of workplace for the parents causes the unstable parental emotions and an unprepared mental condition. Since the MCO order was implemented, Talian Nur or Talian Kasih has also increased at the same time with cases of abuse. Talian Nur is the only known and trusted channel to report cases of abuse. However, due to uncontrollable increase, the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, KPWKM, has temporarily closed the Nur line. So this has sparked outrage in some quarters. How did government overcome these challenges? Okay, here's how. First thing first, government prepare a complete SOP for operating. Daycare facilities and childcare centers that were shuttered during the MCO would be permitted to reopen conditionally after receiving clearance from the Social Welfare Department (JKM) in their respective states, according to the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development. So the parents concerned about the closure of the childcare center TASCA as a result of the MCO is over once the government announced that it can reopen. Among the SOPs set is that the nursery must inform the intention to reoperate to the district health office. Parents need to send their children on a drive-through basis and adhere to a strict arrival and return schedule. Visitors are not allowed at all. The presence and temperature of children should be recorded. Group activities as well as sharing of food and utilities are also prohibited. Additionally, the nursery must maintain regular sanitation and offer isolation rooms for children who exhibit symptoms before being sent to the hospital or clinic. A health declaration form will be required of all individuals involved, including carriers, employees, children, and parents. There is an extra requirement this time, which is the nursery must obtain JKM clearance before beginning operations, and parents must have a confirmation letter from the employer. Some improvements have been made, such as requiring registered nursery operators who wish to operate to submit an application to JKM, taking into account the safety aspects of children who are high risk of getting infected with COVID-19. Last but not least, the government reopened Talian Kasih. After the temporary closure, the government withdrew the decision to temporarily close Talian Kasih under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, KPWKM. Minister of Women, Family and Community Development, Datuk Sri Rina Harun, said that the existing Talian Kasih coordinated by KPWKM is open as usual. The Talian Kasih will continue with the existing purpose of receiving complaints on women's, family and community issues, especially in dealing with welfare and community-related emergencies. The non-government sector demanded that the Noor line be reopened as usual since individuals who had been abused had no other option. They depending with the government because the PKP MCO had restricted their movement to alternative locations. Furthermore, online operations are permitted to function while PKP MCO is being installed. As a result, KPWKM decided to reopen Talian Kasih, this time for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This ensures that all victims and complainants have access to Talian Kasih at all times. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Nabila Huda binti Muhammad Kamal and I'm going to explain about the evaluation. Firstly, its first targets were completely met in terms of raising awareness and acceptance to child safety as a shared responsibility among all parties with assistance from NGOs which include UNICEF and World Vision. For example, World Vision holds courses for individuals of all ages to teach them how to detect and react to abuse. Besides, because there is a legislation that penalizes anyone such as family member or even an educator that turns a blind eye, as per the State of Social Welfare Department JKM, the amount of police reports submitted in Selangor during March 2020 to March 2022 was 1,910 complaints of child abuse. It demonstrated that people were knowledgeable and caring. Next, the objective to ensure that only the appropriate authorities had close communication with harmed children was also achieved. The victim will be immediately separated from the offender and be hospitalized for inspection. So, if the abuse has been proven, the social department will request court approval to put the child into their daycare facility for just a month. Some significant steps performed include the formation of the suspected child abuse and neglect or SCAN team consists of psychiatrists, gynecologists, pediatricians, welfare officers from JKM and COPS. They gained global attention because of its action to preserve children's life and received 36% of physical abuse reports during 2016, with the worst offender by a mother and father with 35%. The third goal of protecting children against sexual exploitation and abuse also has been met with great success. Children can be exposed to dangers involving live broadcasting of child maltreatment and high-risk sexual slavery. However, in 2015-2018, the Commission banned accessibility to 400 websites containing child sexual abuse material via communication and cooperation among Interpol, PDRM, and MCMC. The last goal of providing every child with a safe and child-friendly environment had not been fully realized. This would be related to nurseries because there are some unregistered nurseries that operate without following any requirements and not even registered under the Child Care Centres Act TASCA 1984. According to Ismail Sabri, Prime Minister, there will only be 7,901 certified daycare facilities in 2020. However, around 2022, the Social Welfare Department discovered 54 unlicensed childcare within Serban, which function without permission from the government. Dr. Mariani, child psychologist, indicated that the likelihood of child abuse might grow since the concern for the caretaker didn't even have any credentials to look after children.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Aini Nabila binti Abdullah. Now I'll be explaining for the recommendation. Recently, during the movement control order due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the child abuse cases in Malaysia are rising, which is it cannot be taken lightly. Where the first recommendation is by conducting a campaign and encourage the participation of the societies can raise their awareness towards the child abuse. In the new era globalization, the societies need to be well aware of what to do if it happened that they witness maltreatments against children. As a matter of fact, the awareness of child abuse can be discussed at the workplace, among friends, or even on the social platform so that it could be useful for the others too. Second, the government should emphasize the important role of officer assigned for the protection of the child. For example, the officer assigned from JKM are the only one who can communicate directly with the victim in order to prevent the child from feeling guilty to give testimony against the abuser. Thirdly, the government plays a significant role in enforcing the law and provide resources. As we know, the sexual abuse of the children also happen outside their home, such as nurseries, where it mainly happen at the unregistered childcare. The punishment for the sexually abuse against child, they will be fined for up to maximum 50,000 ringgit or imprisonment for maximum 20 years. The government also provide resources for the B40 family to reduce their burden in where it can cause stress for both parents. Last but not least, government help in ensuring the safety of child by prohibit those who ever convicted with the serious sex offense or murder of a child. This is to make sure that the safety of the children is guaranteed so that it will not cause insecurity to the parents. That's all from me. Thank you.
As a conclusion, child abuse is a serious matter that needs everyone's attention, especially during this COVID outbreak. Government has carried out many initiatives to curb this issue. However, the responsibility is not on the government only, but also on everybody. Do share information as much as you have and be aware. We can do this together. Thank you.